Cliff Richard was born Harry Roger Webb on October 14, 1940, in Lucknow, India, during the final years of British rule. When his family relocated to England after independence in 1948, young Cliff was introduced to the realities of post-war Britain, marked by modest living and quiet determination. Settling in Hertfordshire, he grew up in a household where discipline, faith, and resilience mattered. Music soon became his escape and inspiration, especially the electrifying sound of American rock and roll icons like Elvis Presley and Little Richard. Those records stirred something powerful in him, offering freedom and possibility during a time of rebuilding. What began as admiration quickly became purpose. Cliff didn't dream of fame alone. He dreamed of bringing joy and energy into people's lives. That early sense of optimism would become a defining trait of his career and character, igniting British rock and roll. By the late 1950s, Cliff Richard was at the forefront of a musical shift in Britain. In 1958, his debut single Move It exploded onto the scene with raw energy and confidence, later earning recognition as Britain's first true rock and roll record. Backed by his band, initially called The Drifters and later renamed The Shadows, Cliff introduced a bold new sound to British youth. His smooth vocals paired with sharp guitar work created a style that felt both rebellious and accessible. Hits like Living Doll, Please Don't Tease, and The Young Ones followed, cementing his status as a national sensation. Cliff wasn't just releasing songs, he was helping define a generation. Long before the British invasion reached America, Cliff had already proven that British artists could lead rock music with authenticity and confidence. Adapting through musical revolutions. As the 1960s progressed and musical tastes evolved, Cliff Richard demonstrated a rare ability to adapt without losing his identity. While many early rock artists faded with changing trends, Cliff adjusted gracefully, exploring pop ballads and softer arrangements. His clean-cut image and versatile voice allowed him to connect with broader audiences. In 1968, his performance of Congratulations at the Eurovision Song Contest showcased this shift, earning widespread international affection. Cliff's longevity became one of his greatest strengths. Rather than resisting change, he embraced growth, allowing his music to mature alongside his listeners. This adaptability kept him relevant through decades of transformation in the music industry. Cliff wasn't chasing youth. He was aging with dignity, proving that sincerity and consistency could outlast trends driven by shock or controversy. Faith, purpose, and inner direction. Cliff Richard's spiritual journey became a defining part of his life and career. In the mid-1960s, he embraced Christianity, an experience that reshaped his priorities and worldview. Rather than retreating from mainstream music, Cliff integrated faith quietly into his work, releasing gospel albums while continuing his pop career. His belief system grounded him, offering clarity in an industry often marked by excess. Cliff's performances reflected joy rather than rebellion, hope rather than chaos. This balance earned him admiration beyond music, as fans saw him as a figure of integrity and kindness. His faith wasn't performative, it was personal. Cliff often spoke about music as a gift meant to uplift, not divide. That philosophy guided his choices, helping him navigate fame with humility and remain emotionally anchored through decades of success. Achievements that span generations. Few artists in history have achieved what Cliff Richard has accomplished. With over 250 million records sold worldwide, He stands among the best-selling musicians of all time. Remarkably, he remains the only artist to score a UK top 5 hit in every decade, from the 1950s through the 2010s. His knighthood in 1995 recognized not only musical achievement but cultural contribution, making him the first rock artist to receive such an honor. Yet accolades never defined Cliff's identity. Colleagues describe him as professional, courteous, and unfailingly respectful. His reputation remained largely unblemished across an industry known for turmoil. For Cliff, longevity wasn't about survival, it was about service. He viewed his career as a responsibility to his audience, a lifelong conversation rather than a fleeting moment of fame, private life, and lasting gratitude. Despite global recognition, Cliff Richard has always guarded his personal life carefully. Choosing not to marry, he focused on faith, friendships, and maintaining balance beyond the spotlight. Dividing his time between the UK and warmer retreats abroad, he found peace in simplicity. Those who know him speak of generosity, punctuality, and genuine warmth. Even in his later years, Cliff's enthusiasm for performing remained undiminished. His concerts felt less like shows and more like celebrations, shared memories between artist and audience. Rather than chasing validation, Cliff expressed gratitude for longevity itself. Each performance became a thank you. His joy on stage wasn't rehearsed. It was earned through decades of connection. Cliff's presence reminded fans that music at its best is about shared humanity, honoring rock's roots in later years. In his 70s, Cliff Richard revisited the music that first inspired him, the fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook in 2013 and just Fabulous Rock and Roll in 2016 paid tribute to rock's golden era. These albums weren't nostalgia exercises, they were celebrations. Cliff's voice, seasoned yet vibrant, breathed warmth into classic songs. Their commercial success proved his continued relevance, with strong chart performances and enthusiastic fan response. In 2018, he returned with Rise Up, his first album of original material in years, offering messages of perseverance and hope. Each later project reaffirmed Cliff's enduring passion. Rather than slowing down, he deepened his relationship with music, honoring its history while remaining present. His artistry aged gracefully, enriched by experience rather than diminished by time. First encounters with George Harrison. As Cliff Richard reflects at 85, his memories of George Harrison are filled with quiet admiration. Their paths crossed in the early 1960s when Cliff was already a star and the Beatles were emerging. George, reserved and thoughtful, left a strong impression. Cliff recalls noticing George's humility and depth even in brief conversations backstage. Unlike louder personalities, George observed more than he spoke. Cliff sensed a spiritual curiosity beneath the surface, a calmness uncommon in rapidly rising fame. While their careers unfolded differently, mutual respect formed the foundation of their connection. Cliff recognized George's musicianship early, particularly his disciplined guitar work and emotional sensitivity. Their relationship wasn't built on constant interaction, but on shared values, thoughtfulness, sincerity, and a desire for meaning beyond applause. Conversations beyond fame. Over time, Cliff and George shared conversations that transcended music. Their discussions often turned toward spirituality, though from different perspectives. Cliff spoke from his Christian faith, while George explored Eastern philosophy and meditation. Despite contrasting beliefs, there was no tension, only curiosity and respect. Cliff recalls George once suggesting that sincerity of heart mattered more than labels. These exchanges left a lasting impact. Cliff admired George's openness and courage to search inwardly, despite global fame. In an industry driven by noise, George sought silence. Cliff found that inspiring. Their meetings were rare but meaningful, often occurring at charity events or quiet gatherings. What lingered wasn't frequency, but depth. George's presence encouraged Cliff to reflect more deeply on purpose, patience, and the role of music as a spiritual expression. Loss, legacy, and quiet influence. George Harrison's passing in 2001 affected Cliff more deeply than he expected. Though they weren't constant companions, George's influence endured. Cliff mourned not just an artist, but a soul who pursued truth without compromise. Reflecting on George's legacy, Cliff emphasizes peace, humility, and authenticity, qualities often missing in modern fame. He admired George's ability to step away from the spotlight and find contentment in simplicity. Cliff admits he sometimes envied that courage. Today, at 85, Cliff speaks with gratitude rather than regret. His memories of George are gentle, free from rivalry or distance. In honoring George Harrison, Cliff honors a shared humanity. Two men from different paths, connected by music and meaning. Their bond stands as a reminder that the truest legacies are built not on fame, but on integrity, respect, and the quiet pursuit of harmony.